Hi, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Founders Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and this is their Sweet Repute, and this is a part of their barrel age series, and this is the 2022 release. So they're calling this one a Wheatwine style ale with maple syrup aged in bourbon barrels. It comes in at 12.8% alcohol by volume, 25 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is just under 2.5 months old. So I'm really excited about this one. Why? I bought multiple bottles of the original release back in 2013. I had it fresh, it was delicious, a lot of maple, a lot of bourbon, big sweet boozy monster, but I loved it. Then I had an aged bottle in 2015. The maple and the bourbon has kind of faded a bit, but it was still just absolutely delicious and no hint of the almost 13%. I think that one was 12.4 or 12.6, something in that realm. The IBUs were bigger too, so I don't know if this is like a slightly different recipe, but I think it was like 12.6 ABV and like 70 IBUs, and this is 12.8 and 25, so I don't know. We'll see. On the back here, they have a little bit of a spiel that we'll read real quick. It says, Sweet Repute's intricate layers of wheat, barley, and caramel malts and clean, fragrant hops elevate our take on a wheat wine style ale to the next blissful level, blended from beer housed in both classic and maple syrup bourbon barrels. The resulting liquid pours a warm russet. Okay, I don't want those tasting notes. Anyway, basically, based on the label of what they said in the front, they said they're brewing it with maple and then aged in bourbon barrels. But then on the back, it says what I thought it was that it was aged in both maple syrup bourbon barrels and bourbon barrels. So I don't know if they actually brew this with maple or if the maple is just maple syrup bourbon barrels. Regardless, I'm really excited. I'm hoping this is delicious. I really enjoyed the 2013, the multiple times I had it. So the fact that they brought it back, really cool to see bring them a lot of different ones back from old releases. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty clear, but it does have I don't know how it's going to show up on camera, but it has very fine particulates everywhere, suspended in animation. Crazy. But yeah, it has that straight on orange color, almost like a rust color, a finger of a lightly tan colored head, super creamy looking. There is alcohol sheets on there at almost 13%. Plays the role, skin nose. Wow. Okay. So with a wheat wine, I think the actual definition of wheat wine is that like it needs to be, I think, brewed with at least 50% wheat malt, which is the difference between that and like if calling this a barley wine. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Could be wrong though. The nose to me is, and it's been a long time since I got this in a Founders barrel aged beer or even like a Firestone Walker barrel aged beer or a Bourbon County barrel. There is a toasted coconut scent, and it has to be coming from the barrels. Oh my God, it's so awesome. And I'll just be honest with you, I try to be honest with my reviews, but also like of the information I have seen or have been given. I've seen a lot of folks check this in on tap, and I've seen a lot of people say this isn't as good as they remember it, or it's just a sweet mess of a beer that's not good. This nose is fucking top tier for me personally. I love barley wines. I love wheat wines, barrel aged, maple syrup, yes, and I'm getting a ton of toasted coconut. Like, this is awesome. There's caramel. There's toffee, there's molasses. There's such a pronounced toasted coconut to my nose piece right now. The aromatics are top tier for me. I did not anticipate that, and I'm so happy I'm getting it. I might not translate, but let me tell you, the aromatics are fantastic for me. Does it smell sweet? You bet your ass it does. There's also like this candied like fruity kind of thing going on, like a candied raspberry. Almost like a fruitcake, like the jellied fruitcake or the candied fruitcake pieces, kind of something like that. Like pineapple. It's almost pina colada. Is my nose broken? Something going on? Maybe. I don't know. This smells awesome. Yeah, so big, sweet, is it boozy? Sure. But the only thing I'm getting barrel-wise is that toasted coconut. Like, I'm not getting actual bourbon. I'm not even getting maple per se. I'm just getting a lot of toasted coconut and sweeter, malt-driven kind of characters. It smells fucking dynamite. There's also like a cherry, like a maraschino cherry. Let's taste it. Cheers, everyone. Taste is a bit of letdown. And by a bit, I mean substantial. Fuck. Body is like higher side of medium, lower side of full, 12.8%. It's a bit thin, but it's Founders. I don't think I've ever, in the past 5 years, I don't think I've had a Founders beer that was a part of their barrel age series that I was like, this is thick, this is viscous, this is not thin. Like most of them are thin. Is this like substantially thin? No. Is it thin for something almost 13%? Yes. Like I said, higher side of medium body, lower side of full. It's almost 13%. I want to see this full bodied or close to it, and it's not. It's all right. I'm kind of used to it from Founders. Mouthfeel, decent carbonation, I'd say, almost moderately carbonated. It's a nice smoothness on the palate. There's no astringency from the alcohol. Nice warming into the chest, but nothing on the palate that would dictate any kind of astringency. So the body's thin, the mouthfeel's nice, the taste. This is one of the least complex, without question, one of the least complex, almost 13% beers that I've had in a hot minute. This kind of reminds me of the Christmas IPA from Goose Island, where it's a 7.5% like American IPA. And I was just like, where's the flavor? Like it's 7.5%, I barely taste anything. I'm not saying this is that bad, but the nose with that toasted coconut, the sweet like maraschino cherry, the caramel, the toffee, it was very complex. It was very boisterous. It was like in my face. And then I taste this. I'm like, this reminds me of when I had the age bottle back in 2015 of the original 2013, where it was like, I don't taste any maple, barely get any bourbon, but it's really good. It's just, you don't really taste what's going on. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. Forefront has whispers of that caramel and that toffee, the brown sugar, like the sweet caramelized sugars. Like that hits me at the forefront. As it passes through, that maraschino cherry hits, and it's almost like instead of like a cherry cordial, it's more like a caramel covered cherry, something in that realm. But not like might sound tasty, but it's just like it's again whispers, subtleties, nuances of that flavor. About halfway to 2/3 of the way through the palate, the barrel hits, and again, it's more toasted coconut, which I like, which I love. It's a little bit of like an oak tannin dryness. This finish is semi-dry, so that oak tannin there. There is a decent bitterness here, 25 IBUs. Like I said, the prior vintage was like 70. There's definitely a relatively fresh. There's a decent kind of like mild to moderate bitterness, and I think it's the oak tannins mixing in with like this nice earthy kind of resinous hop character. Is this sweet? Yes. Is it cloying? Not to my palate. I mean, I think some people will drink this and be like, that's just a sweet, sugary mess of a beer, and I don't want anything to do with it. I could definitely see people saying that. I don't dislike this at all. Like, I think it's pretty good. It's just the nose set me up for disappointment. I always hate when that happens with beers, where like you're smelling it. It happens a lot with like double dry hopped and triple dry hopped hazy IPAs, where you're just like, it's the aromatics are just like, you're like, holy crap, this is insane. Then you take a sip and you're like, what happened? Well, double dry hop and triple dry hop produces those awesome aromatics, and it doesn't always follow through on the taste. Same thing with this. You're talking about maple syrup bourbon barrels, big 12.8%, wheat wine aged in those barrels, and like the nose is like, holy shit, like toasted coconut for days, a lot of complexity to the malt, just smells awesome. And then you taste it and you're like, it's good. And it upsets me, and I can see somebody watching this going, this dude's upset because this beer is not amazing, but it's still good. Well, what I remember this beer being, and now when I'm having it, like, yeah, it upsets me. I wish this was as good as I remember it being in 2013 and 2015. The 100% honest to God truth is that it's not. Is it still pretty good? Yeah. Is it 4.5 out of 5 good? It's not. But I could see this is going to be a very polarizing beer. I can see a lot of people just absolutely thinking that's just hot garbage, and then a bunch of other people really enjoying it. I'm somewhere in between. Like, I wanted to love this, and the nose was awesome. It's just, anyway. I will say 12.8%, big warming in the chest. I can feel the booze, but like, again, no astringency on the palate. It's not hot on the palate. There's no heat in the back of the throat. It's not like you take a sip and like, as it's going down your esophagus and your stomach, like everything's just becoming substantially warm. It's like, it builds up over time. So anyway, good, but not great. Wheat wine aged in bourbon barrels and maple syrup bourbon barrels. Their prior vintage was definitely better to my palate, though. But again, my palate was in a different place in 2013 and 2015. So talking 8 to 10 years, can you compare your palate? Not really. So Sweet Repute, part of their barrel aged series. This is the 2022 release from Founders. I'm going to give this a low 4 out of 5 and go 3.9 out of 5. It's the best I can do for a beer like this. The nose, 4.5 out of 5, 4.75 out of 5. Like, that's how good this nose was. Like, I love toasted coconut, and it reminded me and harkened back to like the first time I had Sucab and Parabola from Firestone Walker, and I couldn't believe toasted coconut notes were coming just from the barrel. And then some, vintages of Bourbon County and even some of KBS, I got toasted coconut. It's been a while since a Founders beer or a Bourbon County beer, like I said, even a Firestone Walker beer kind of gave me that toasted coconut vibe, and that it was there in spades in the nose and it just didn't follow suit. So anyway, price and availability, it's Founders. So if you get Founders in your neck of the woods and you get a lot of these barrel-aged series beers, you should see this one at some point. Price point, this was $15.99 a 4-pack. This is the one thing I will say about this beer. This used to come in the big 750 milliliter bottles, which are 25.4 fluid ounces. So those, like when I picked them up back, 2013 to 15, I think those bottles were like $15 to $20. And then we're talking, 8 to 10 years ago. Well, 10 years ago, because it was 2013 when it was released. Now, compared to this is $16 for a 4-pack of 12 fluid ounce bottles. So you're talking 48 ounces for $16. I literally paid 10 years ago almost the same price for half the amount of beer. So the price point nowadays is way better. $4 a bottle for something that's 13%, aged in maple syrup, bourbon barrels, like that's a great fucking value. Like regardless of whether or not you like this beer, I think the value is there. Because if you love this beer, I can see you buying 4-packs and just aging them and everything. Unfortunately for me, I don't think I'm gonna buy any more of this. If it was really good, I might have bought like a 4-pack and aged it, but no, not going to do it. So anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. If you've had the 2013 vintage in addition to this one, let me know which one you thought was better. They also did like a triple X version, which I think was aged for like a couple years in the bourbon barrels. I think that was like an exclusive release only at Founders. I would have loved to try that one. But yeah, I'm glad they brought it back. It's not hitting me the same as it did 10 years ago. And that's a bummer, but it is what it is. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.